A Florida billionaire is back in the headlines, once again accused of sex crimes with minors. Jeffrey Epstein is already a convicted sex offender, but sources say he was arrested on new charges of sex trafficking underage girls. Epstein served 13 months in jail after pleading guilty to state prostitution charges back in Florida of 2008. CNN's Sonia Mogi is in New York, where Epstein is expected to appear in federal court tomorrow.
Yeah, Fred, these charges may be new, but once that indictment is unsealed, we'll get to see how much information is actually new, how much information isn't, allegations that we've already seen out in the public arena. We have seen accusers speaking for over the past decade through the form of lawsuits with these allegations of sexual abuse and even sex trafficking, allegedly at the hands of Epstein and some of his associates. One lawsuit that was filed about 10 years ago was from a girl who says that she was about 14 or 15 when she was lured to Epstein's Florida mansion under the guise of those massage classes, learning how to be a masseuse, was coerced into sex, was given money, and then spent years being flown around by Epstein, being allegedly sexually abused and, told to have sex with his associates as well, she claimed. So how much of that will be in the indictment, we don't know. We will find out tomorrow, presumably. But one thing I really wanted to mention was how we got here. This case has been out there for quite some time now, and there are several factors, including the Miami Herald's dogged reporting over the past several months, over the past year. I want to let you listen to one of the reporters who's been staying on this story, on why she stayed on the story.
I didn't give up on it. And, it's sometimes easy to walk away and just let things happen. But I just felt that I had to keep pursuing it and not let the powers that be, so to speak, the law enforcement people, the people in government, forget that these women were out there.
And another factor here is obviously those victims who kept talking to prosecutors in hopes of getting their case reopened. Fred.
All right, Sonia, thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit further on this with defense attorney Ross Garber. Good to see you, Ross. So what strikes you as different this time around?
There's almost nothing that's not different about this situation. This is a wild, extraordinary, almost bizarre case. What kind of strikes me as different was the plea deal that was cut many years ago in Florida, which effectively gave Epstein a slap on the wrist and kept everything quiet, including from the victims. Now, so many years later, it is very extraordinary to have these kinds of charges brought so much later. But one of the things I think we'll be looking for is how much is new here. Are there new allegations? Are there different allegations? That'll be an important thing to look for.
Well, won't one thing that is new possibly include hearing from some of these, young ladies? In the Miami Herald's reporting, which was extraordinary, there were testimonies. I mean, young girls who are recalling their experiences when they were in high school, and only in recent moments now talking about it and talking about how troubled they were, about having to share this. And might that kind of information be what inspired this new set of, legal pursuits against him in New York? I mean, that perhaps even though he was not prosecuted, that people are being enlightened a little differently now as a result of the fact that Miami Herald did its extraordinary reporting.
Yeah, and for any of our viewers who haven't yet looked at the Miami Herald's reporting, I strongly recommend it. It includes text, it includes just heartbreaking, shocking video. It is extraordinary work. So I think between that and giving credit to these women who came forward, who kept after this year after year after year, I think those two things probably led us to where we are today. And I think we're gonna learn a lot about the actions. And in federal court, one thing we shouldn't do is, even if the charges are narrow, we should remember that, first of all, those charges can be amended. They can be expanded later. And then second, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, in any sentencing in federal court, a judge can take into account other relevant conduct that goes beyond just the narrow allegations. So I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but when we look at this tomorrow, we should keep those two things in mind.
Wow. All right. Yeah, it's extraordinary. And again, you know, these are new charges, new case, still allegations, you know, yet to be proven. But there is so much that's preceded this that is so eyebrow raising. So the interest is very high. Ross Garber, thank you so much. Appreciate it.